I suppose we can spend some time looking at the extras.
Oliver, aspiring filmmaker, qualified Goblin, Alpha 1. An early version of Oliver's theme was originally going to have a pinball-inspired section in the idea. This was in the early days of working on Dialtown. For some reason, I had misunderstood and briefly thought Oliver worked in an arcade. The electric keyboard was a template I used to write out where the notes would be and planned to switch it with an 8-bit pinball synth. But quickly learned Oliver works in a cinema, not an arcade. The ideas, as you hear, get more and more hectic, but as of 41, it abruptly stops. This was when I realized my mistake. Nathan, who obviously worked on the music.
Pretty good, but makes me feel like I've chugged caffeine. Not knocking that, since Oliver's likely 100% permanently hopped up on caffeine. But I don't want to get too excited and get sick on myself and start crying like a baby because of a Dialtown track. Pass, dog.
So this is the alpha here.
Yeah.
I definitely can hear that, yeah.
Yeah. That's cool, though. Happy machine broke.
Somber mood theme. Here, this is that.
Yeah.
This is still a really good idea to me. The third version I made for the sadness theme. This, however, was deemed too sad for the context of its use. We did plan to perhaps use it later in Dialtown, but it never made the cut. I personally like this idea, and if a Dialtown 2 is ever made, I can imagine you'll hear this in its entirety. It's not going on the scrap pile anytime soon, Nathan.
Yeah, what Nathan Anover Esquire said, if I'm not mistaken, I think I asked them to scale down the tragedy because, my god, is it excellent, but F me. I couldn't justify playing it for a Randy Route sad scene. Randy doesn't deserve nearly that much genuine pity for the mess that is his god dang effing life, dog.
Also, is Nathan Hanover from the guy with the either violin or viola for a head?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
He is also the guy that made the music.
That's really cool. The Mingling, a shoddy attempt at evil. That's cool. This is another idea not going on the scrap pile. I really like this, but hate the second half of this idea, and personally only like the first 15 seconds. I can imagine this getting used in some form in the future. I doubt it would be for the mingling, perhaps for another character or scenario. My favorite part of this idea is the guitar pitch and the squeals at the end of each bar, Nathan.
This song is way too cool to ever be used for Mayor Mingus or any of her goons. Maybe if Satan appears in Dialtown, or a particularly aggressive street preacher, who knows? Dog.
Karen is so done. I like how this first version laid down the groundwork for the A section of Karen's theme. Due to Karen being autistic, I investigated into calming music and an idea that wouldn't cause sensory overload to the player. I'm pleased that I didn't go down this route because of it. 1, it didn't fit the mood of the character. 2, it felt like it would have been a bit on the nose for her disability. 3, from learning more from Karen's theme, her character personality and her disability throughout the making of her actual theme, I was diagnosed with autism myself, so the game version is a little special to me. Smile, from Nathan.
Huh? Sounds like something they'd play to lull me to sleep before I get euthanized. It's also excellent, so 100% it genuinely worked for that purpose. That or a VR playroom. Maybe. Whichever Bill Jobs, the computer smartphone man, feels like doing first. 99 out of 100, very good. Dog.
So you done goofed. I am so pleased this version didn't make it into the game. It's disgusting. I originally looked into creating something that would give that pathetic vibe, But it didn't work. Instead, it looking to create something crusty, gross, and with distorted vocals. Again, I'm pleased that this was scrapped where it was. The fuck was I thinking, Nathan?
I love this.
Goddamn. Goddamn.
Track so effing much. If this awful game ever gets a sequel, I will make the musical one. Hand me the track so I can use it, partly out of genuine love for the track, partly out of spite. A spiteful beast I be. Dog.
Nathan, if it makes you feel any better, I don't think this is that bad. I can see why maybe you kind of don't like it, but it's not that bad, really. I do like the version that's in the game better, but like, you know.
Yeah.
This is not a bad alpha. Ah, there we go. Alright, that was all the alpha music. That's cool. That was pretty neat.
Making of Dialtown's assets. Okay, so we can actually look at the each individual one.
First up in Type Genji's creation was the formation of the outer shell. Oh, here we see it next to Genji's other miserable head. We give it keys so that it can type like a typewriter. Give Genji's paper tray on top here. Egads, Genji's head now has knobs on its sides and other assorted little details. Oh, look at that. And now we have the lever added alongside whatever the fuck goes in the very middle of the cavity of any typewriter. As someone who did dabble in school with the 3D modeling but could never get into it, like it just wasn't my thing, this impresses me. Like, I would never be able to sit down and do that.
Yeah.
2D stuff is my thing that this is not. So, I'm always impressed by these kind of things. Type Genji is now cautiously given the gift of placeholder textures. Don't let us down, girl. Alas, the flayed hide of God Type Genji. Type Genji mainly uses the same texture as Phone Genji, but since they're born from the same flayed hog. This is... Oh shit, I didn't actually read that. Oh well.
This is how it all fits together.
This is how it all fits together. Like, you actually fold the skin over, like, the model itself. And here's the typewriter keys, ready to have absurd things printed onto their currently empty casings. Behold, take one. I need some, that's fun. I like that. There's a chess piece on one, that's pretty neat.
Yeah. Dodo.
Yes. Soon more keys will be added. Nectar. There's Nectar.
Yeah.
Dogman. Hog. Hog was moved to join with the dog in holy matrimony. Finally, the rest of the keys were filled out. This way, dog and hog both hook up into the same form. Dogman, Hogman. What is Dogman talking about?
I don't know.
Oh! Here, right here. Down the middle, next to the music note, is the H. O-G-M.
Okay, I see that.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. As you can see, there's a symbol to represent each of Dialtown's datables, alongside many stupid references. Is there?
Well, I mean, I see some popcorn. I see a swan head.
Ah, yeah.
There's obviously a pair of Venus symbols for lesbian.
Yeah.
I don't see a Bigfoot. Oh, wait, there is a foot.
Oh, there's a foot. That's
fair.
Probably Bigfoot.
Norm. Gun.
Gun!
There's a gun. Yeah, there's
a gun. It's right next to the popcorn. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
And with that, the less popular of the two player head types was born. Get out!
Sad.
Sad. I mean, to be fair, I think there is something just appealing about the phone head.
Yeah.
It's now time to discuss the birth of the wretched Giggles phone.
Giggles?
Gingles phone. Gingles.
It all started when I sent a rotten man named Fillmore references the phone I wanted Genji's head to look like. He immediately got to work dooming us all to live in a world that contains fleshy telephones. Soon Phil began creating polygons and such vertices. Disgusting. Genji was given form, dot in line by dot in line. Behold, he is real now, I guess. Soon Genji gained whatever this thing is, becoming a real boy, much like that Pinocchio fella. Genji then gained flesh. On the left, you can see Genji's flayed virtual skin. Here's each piece, but labeled. Gaze upon this wretch's many crevices. Genji is, in its very essence, a large armpit.
Not wrong.
Let's give this boyo some bloody, texture? Texture in it?
Texture, ain't
Okay. Behold, Genji's skin begins to take form. You may find this revolting, but remember, I have zero regrets except for all of them. So then I decide to add more flesh. Variety is the spice of life, so I've been told. Genji is now preparing to have skin on it, thrilling and humbling. As you can see, the result wasn't good. But isn't much worse than most things I released, so we kept going. Man, this looks wretched. It's a start.
I mean, I think that's the point, right?
I began adding stitches at this point as nobody could really stop me. Otherwise, the texture is just slices of ham of various size / coloration, slapped on top of each other. Nah, F that. And here we have the first stitches, which really ties the whole thing together. The results weren't good, but that never stops me. I then had the idea to make the looping skin way smaller, see if that breaks it up any better, you know? The results made me want to pierce my jugular with a garden trowel, so I decided to revert it to the old scale. Then I finished adding stitches to the main texture. I really wonder how many lists this game's gonna get me placed on. I hope at least 4 for the safety of others. Here we have it, Genji's fetal form. It's almost there.
It's not bad where it is.
Yeah. Here then, Genji got fleshy digits for beneath its dial and a green fleshy dial far out.
There you go.
That's pretty much exactly Phone Genji, yeah.
There he is.
And with that, Genji was born for, like, real. Thanks, get out.
And we love them for that. Let's talk about Callum. Okay, so here's the deal. Callum's model uses Genji's as its base. So step 1 in this case, acquire Genji. Hey, I feel better for making a solid connection between the two of them early on.
Yeah.
But Callum, unlike Genji, is a real stand-up guy. So now this moi bloody head's been made of human flesh, ain't it? Business. No siree. So I put together something based on Genji's texture, metallic, as seen here with this wee comparison. Yeah, that makes sense, because it's metal instead of flesh, but it's like patchwork metal. But I wanted the head to be a hideous mishmash of metals, and the current palette had one too many gray metals. There you go. So I tried replacing the gray plate closest to the front of the texture with a rusted brown. With a rough texture ready to use, we had experimented with palette mixes. Here's a golden Callum crown, awful. Here's a more subdued palette, probably the nicest visually, but it blends together a little too well. I definitely can agree with that. In the end, the original palette ready salted barely. One! Yay! The palettes were then raised slightly, given a 3D plated effect, now to replace the flat textures and guideline bolts. And behold, it's good enough! I think that's what Callum said when he put it together.
Yeah.
It's good enough! And with that, the design that we can all tolerate was born! Go home!
Now, we'll see how Madam Mediocre came to be. You don't have any choice in the matter. Madam wasn't originally intended to be a 3D model. I actually designed Madam Mediocre myself via photo collaging. For instance, the mannequin inside Madam's chest cavity is a photo of a real mannequin I just had in my room.
Why did you have a mannequin in your room?
Either way, Phil beta tested an early build of Dialtown, liked her design so much that he designed a model of his own volition.
You couldn't stop, Phil!
Mam's first mesh looked like this. She's missing her finer details like her necklace and of course textures, but is otherwise pretty gnarly. However, the necklace soon followed. I then gave Phil all the textures I'd used to create the original Madam design to use as textures for his rad mesh. Lo and behold, and such, he sure did. Slap those suckers on there and be effing hold, it's Madam Mediocre. Here's a neat little comparison to show how effing close Phil got to the model for original design.
That's neat.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sport and all, don't come back.
Don't come back. I don't care for y'all. It's time to discuss the birth of a truly wretched being. Greg.
A mistake.
A
really.
mistake. I hate it. Greg was born in much the same fashion as the Titanic sank. A good bit happened at once, and then the rest was slow and excruciating. Pictured here, the genesis of Greg.
How do you combine Greg and Genesis, though? Greginus?
Greginus? However, a question lingered in the air like the metallic whiff of blood after a bloodbath. Where to place Greg's phone on his head? Inside the head was just too cursed to work. In the end, Greg's head was dented and the receiver was placed in the cradle. In hindsight, I just wanted to dent that fucker's noggin. Phil suggested the chicken legs. I was too afraid to argue. Greg then gained a pacifier. No, I don't want to talk about it. At this point, Greg was given a diaper and a sign that went around his neck. But alas, what commentary was to be put on the sign? While I pondered this question, Greg received more textures, becoming more powerful than he should have ever been allowed to. In the end, the message was obvious. All of you are to blame for enabling my cursed work. Shame on you all. And with that, Greg was born and God is dead and probably died screaming. Thanks.
Alright, it's time. Bertha, our beloved.
Bertha!
First we have a basic mold. The top of it's based on a normal old school movie projector, of course. The bulky compartment on wheels at the bottom was meant to resemble those old TVs they used to wheel into classrooms. No idea what these pieces do. They do prevent Bertha from just being a featureless cube, though, which is always ideal. Behold, she's got reels. A little pirate ship wheel looking thing, and of course a projector lens. Exciting. Now it's got a lot of smaller pieces. Woo, sorry about the red base. No idea what was happening here. Satanic hogwash. Generally, behold. And finally, Bertha was given some texture and of course the Dialtown logo printed on her side. Even more finally, Bertha got her hat. She is nothing without it.
She needs her hat. She needs her hat.
Here's the final product. It sure is final, isn't it? Some mistakes can't be undone. Go home.
Why do I have to get Big Gregma? The genesis of Big Gregma was a complex and traumatizing process.
I bet it was.
Ingredient uno, Big Bertha. Ingredient deux. Ingredient deux, Greg. Ingredient tres. That a mediocre. And then something truly magical occurred. Go fuck yourself. Thank you for not.
The creation of Town Hall started by me drawing this pretty shoddy concept art for what Town Hall could look like. The design was thrown out and set on fire and junk, but one concept was kept from it: the building should be shaped like a cat. First steps here, as with most stereotypical town halls, the building is based on classical Greek architecture. Visually cool looking, you know? Town Hall begins to take form here. Only thing is, it's a tad white. I want the whole building to be visible in very long vertical shots of it, you know? So the Greek Dialtown cat building was horizontally castrated, allowing us to move on. Here we can see the door frame up close. It sure is. Next shot taken from the steps. This slightly wider shot is the perspective that Town Hall first appears at in-game. Then we move on to the top of the building, which is notable for its complete lack of cat. Now then, we have a cat head perched atop the building. This is wonderful news. I'll be sure to tell everyone I meet about this event. The building is shaping up nicely now. Even the building's ears have some depth to them now, but the eyes need work. Much better. Ears are better looking, eyes are cooler looking, and general detailing is up. Forgot to mention, also look, paws. Cute. At this point, the building gained teeth. A decision I'm not 100% comfortable with, but hey, it's out of my hands. I'm only a dog. Textures are slapped on. This is easily the most building I've seen to date. Very much. So, yeah. Then the glass was placed in. Note its horrible little reflections and whatnot. At last, Town Hall as seen in game, minus my horrendous placeholder flag. As while the model was being made, I had yet to commission that. And here's the finished shot with the better flag in it. Making of Dialtown's flag is over in the art section under Canid Cosmos. Alright, that's it. See you in Purgatory, folks.
Art. John's art. Alright, time to show you some of John's pitches for potential Dialtown cinematic slides. Basically, anytime I need a cinematic slide, I'd inform John what the context of the slide is, and he'd pitch me 4 to 8 ideas of what it could look like. Here's some of what were pitched to promote the game. Any pitches underlined in red were accepted and then drawn fully. That's cute. I kind of remember that.
Be a phone. Breaking Randy's heart some more.
Rip Randy's heart. 80s PSA ending keeps saying, what?
Phone hold Reagan.
Sorry. Did I go
alright.
too fast?
No.
More Randy goes to jail. Randy and his self-respect. The ending where Randy caves his head. Oh no! Yourself.
In memoriam, rest in pieces, Randy.
No! Happy ending for Randy. Hooray!
Yes.
Happy Karen. Get shot, shoot yourself and perish like a dog. Oh dear. Batter acid again? How many times could you...
There are quite a few times. I think there's a couple for each route.
It's draft time, Karen.
Go to prison, but Karen likes you.
Bear ass provokes arson. Oh, Oliver's endings here.
Yeah.
Is there an ending where you can burn in the cinema?
Little Billy becomes an astronaut.
Oh, did we spike him into the sun?
Death by alpacas.
Alpaca murders artist. Well. Happy ending for Oliver. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that too. Oh no, not sock. Not sock boyfriend hanging from the ceiling lamp. Here's his pitches for on-screen visuals that pop up while Genji reads Callum Crown's postcard in the ending climax. There's a bunch of stuff drawn. Drew and gave me his blessing to show you all. Yay!
Aww.
That's cool. Some of these definitely
Photorealistic doggo.
Photorealistic doggo. Some of it was intended to be concept art, some of it was just drawn because John knew it looked fucking rad. A treasure he is. Fun fact, this drawing of my cat is what prompted me to hire John to draw in this game's ending slides. That's cool.
Yeah. Ooh,
Nice.
Help me.
I love Mingus.
Yes.
Very super talented artist.
Yes.
There are a bunch of different ideas John had for the title screen and coloration. This is only 6 out of the 18 in total, I think, the agony of choice. Alright, that's it for this showcase. Get out! I mean it. So, Coyotes? Coyotes?
I think so.
Coyote?
Yeah.
Almost. Their art.
Alright, time to cover Coyote's Dialtown art, but first, I asked them for any work in progress that she might have for the extras menu. She sent me a zip file containing what you see here. This is not intended to expose nor humiliate, merely to explain. Moving on. A few gnarly early sketches of the Mayor Mingus brooding slide.
That was a really good shot.
Yes. In the end, as you can see, she decided to go for something like the slide that was on the right, but with simplified shading. Here's an early sketch of the Genji full body slide, Creature. Here's 3 work in progress renditions of that same slide. I like the one in which Genji acquires a tail. Here's the finished slide for comparison. Truly very gnarly and swag.
Mm-hmm.
Here's an early sketch of some of the panicking peasants of Dialtown. Neat. Same peasants again, no less panicked this time. Behold Plato's man. Featherless bipedal phone guy. Here's that same pathetic little dude in a state of deep agony. His work in progress with the level of despair is very much final. Here's another one. He gained a bow tie, which will be gone soon like dust in the wind. Behold the finished frame. Mein Gott. Here's an early version of the flower frame. Note the recipient of it was originally going to be Mayor Mingus.
Oh, cool.
Now here's the same frame, but with the tiny weird peasant from before. The frame where Genji rides on a god dang nuke. Coyote modeled the actual effing nuke for reference, the absolute mad lad. Man, yeah, no, this is
Pretty groovy.
pretty groovy. And finally, behind that cool Mingus cane animation at the very end, it's a 3D model, effing witchcraft.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that animation too.
Alright, enough, be gone with you.
Very great. Great work. Canid Cosmos. First of all, I'll show you some of the early designs Canid Cosmos had in mind for Dialtown's town flag to replace my awful placeholder. Oh, these are cool.
I love the swan. Is that a swan?
That's a swan
Yeah,
one,
it's a
yeah.
swan.
There's a swan one. Well, these are great. In the end, I chose the design in the center top row. Canid Cosmos then pitched some palette ideas. In the end, I went for design 2, using the purple from design 1 and the gold from design 4. She then pitched the idea of the flag phone resembling Callum Crown's phone head. Oh, that's a neat idea.
Yeah.
It was a tough pick. All 3 look fucking cool. Yeah, they definitely do. Asked for a few other collaborators. And in the end, with their input, we went with design 1. Just barely. All 3 designs are just so cool. Next, time for Dialtown's main logo. All of these 3 designs look fantastic, but the one on the right one, as it is recognizable even as a silhouette. Yeah, I think that you made the right choice there. I think they're all good, but like that one, I like how the chords work. It's just very good. Distinctive logos are important. Also, it's just real fucking cute, yeah. Here's a work in progress sketch of my face in game. I saw the face of God. It had a waffle in its mouth. I have nothing left to offer you. Leave my sight. That was great.
Yeah.
What is...
Awful cutout.
No. So when I began working on the scene where oh my god, Bigfoot mauls little Billy, I knew I needed something more than just editing trickery.
Interesting.
I needed real tangible cardboard, a boy to beat them whilst wearing my ape costume. My little Pinocchio. So I got to work. First time.
There are lots of things that we're finding out happened that we never got to see.
Yes. Because we were good little children and didn't beat up children.
Didn't beat up children or weaponize Bigfoot.
Yes. First, I worked out an estimate height for little Billy in the pose that I wanted, and then worked out the printable area on my printer page. Or on a printer page. And then I printed out every single little part of little Billy, an image in question on a 3x5 grid, translating him into a second dimensional plane adjacent to our world. I then used scissors to slice the borders off in printer sheets and tape them down all the pages onto a large flattened cardboard box. Once the glue was dry, I went at the box with a bread knife, cutting alongside the edge of little Billy's image that was glued down. After a long time of cutting, slicing, and other such synonyms, I ended up with a perfect cutout of the boy, as seen here. I promptly shoved his head into a toilet. Get dunked on, kid. Just for funsies, here's a picture of my cat salvage napping on my old costume shelf, with the cutout lying in the foreground. Aww. Alright, that's it. Thanks. Get out.
Cool.
Awesome.